The ship tore through atmosphere trailing fire, and their pilot's last scream still echoed in Lissa's ears. Metal shrieked. The hull bucked. Her harness bit into her chest as the reconnaissance craft slammed into dirt and kept sliding. Trees exploded against the viewport. Something in the propulsion bay detonated with a crack that made her teeth ache. Then silence, broken only by the hiss of failing systems and someone's ragged breathing. Lissa's head throbbed. She tasted copper. Her tactical display flickered twice and died. She keyed her comm with shaking fingers. Status. Maven answered first, her voice tight with pain. Alive, barely. Starboard thruster punched through the bulkhead. Reth's gone. Lissa closed her eyes. Reth had been flying when the gravitational shear hit them. The human homeworld's moon was larger than their intel suggested, its tidal forces unpredictable. They dropped out of orbit too fast, lost all maneuvering control. She forced herself to move. Her left arm burned where the harness had torn skin. Vesk's skin was tougher than most species, pebbled and heat-resistant, but the impact had been brutal. She released the harness and pulled herself toward the rear compartment. The door was jammed. She braced her feet and hauled. Her muscles screamed. The door gave with a metallic groan. Maven lay pinned beneath a support beam. Her skin had gone pale gray, almost translucent with shock. The beam had crushed her lower torso. Lissa didn't need a medical scanner to know Maven wouldn't survive the next hour. "Help me move this." Maven's breathing hitched. "Commander, leave me. You need to signal for extraction. We're not leaving you." Lissa checked their position. The emergency beacon was offline. Their primary comms were slag. She pulled Maven's scanner from her belt and activated it. The display showed local fauna readings. Large, numerous, and something else. Thermal signature, bipedal, 1.3 kilometers south and closing. Maven's eyes widened. Indigenous sentience. No. Lissa's stomach dropped. Human. The mission briefing had been clear. Earth was classified as a death world. Gravity 1.02 standard, oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere with dangerous oxidation rates. Temperature swings that would kill most species. Humans had evolved here. Apex predators, pursuit specialists. The Vesk expedition had observed from orbit for 6 cycles. Humans were dangerous, yes, but they weren't supposed to be here. This region was uninhabited, designated wilderness. Except one was coming. She helped Maven into a more comfortable position, knowing it was futile. Then she moved to the forward viewport and stared into the alien forest. Trees. Everywhere, massive organisms reaching toward a sky that was too blue, too bright. The sun burned her eyes even through the damaged viewport. This planet's star was a main sequence yellow dwarf, hotter than the red dwarf of her homeworld. How could anything live under that kind of radiation? The thermal signature moved closer, not running, walking, a steady pace that covered ground with mechanical precision. Maven pulled up the scanner readings. It's maintaining 2 kilometers per hour, straight toward us. Lissa checked her sidearm. Projectile weapon, low velocity. Their weapons were designed for zero-G boarding actions, not planetary combat. She looked at Maven. "How long until the human arrives?" 37 minutes. Maven's breathing grew shallower. "Commander, you need to go, now. My scent will mask yours for a while." Lissa's mandibles clicked, a Vesk expression of grief. "I'm not abandoning you. You're not abandoning me. You're surviving." Maven managed a weak smile. "Besides, I want to see what happens when this human finds me. Maybe I'll learn something useful." Final intelligence report from the field. Lissa touched her scout's shoulder. The gesture meant more than words. Then she grabbed emergency supplies, checked her bearings, and slipped out through the starboard airlock. The heat hit her like a physical blow. 32 degrees. Lethal temperature for any Vesk without a thermal suit. She'd survive for a few hours, maybe longer if she found shade. Her species could tolerate brief exposure to high heat, but this This was sustained torture. She moved northeast, away from the thermal signature. The forest floor was soft beneath her feet, covered in decomposing organic matter that released moisture with each step. Everything was wet, water everywhere. This planet was drowning in it. Behind her, the scanner pinged. The human had reached the crash site. A voice crackled through her emergency comm, speaking in halting, accented Vesk common. "I am not threat. Your friend is hurt. Please wait." Lissa's blood turned cold. He'd accessed their communication system, had learned enough of their language to form basic phrases. She didn't respond, couldn't respond. Every protocol screamed trap. Predators adapted. This one had adapted fast. She kept moving. Her arm throbbed. Sweat beaded on her skin, an uncomfortable sensation Vesks rarely experienced. She found a stream, real liquid water flowing over stones, and forced herself to drink. It tasted strange. Clean, but wrong somehow. The voice came again through static. "Your injury needs treatment. I have medical supplies. I will not harm you." She switched off her comm. Whatever he was learning too quickly, speaking her language after minutes of exposure. That level of adaptability was more frightening than raw physical prowess. She checked the scanner. The thermal signature was moving again, still walking, still coming, toward her. Lissa's pulse quickened. She increased her pace, pushing through undergrowth that snagged at her uniform. The vegetation was aggressive, thorned, and dense. She climbed over a fallen tree, its bark rough and unyielding. The scanner pinged again. The human had gained ground. Still walking, she ran. Her training kicked in, tactical retreats and evasion protocols. She knew pursuit-predation theory. The human would maintain pressure, force her to exhaust herself. She needed to break the trail, confuse the scent markers. She crossed the stream twice, climbed onto rocky outcroppings, backtracked through her own path, every trick she knew. The scanner pinged. The human adjusted course, corrected, found her trail, still walking. Panic crept into her chest. This wasn't how predation worked. Predators were supposed to be fast, explosive. They ambushed or sprinted. They didn't walk. Not like this. Not with this relentless, mechanical patience. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, turning the forest into a furnace. Lissa's skin felt tight, her head light. She'd lost too much water. Her arm had stopped bleeding, but infection would set in soon. Earth's microbial ecosystem was notorious. She collapsed against a tree, gasping. Her scanner showed the thermal signature. 1.5 kilometers, still walking. She forced herself up and kept moving. Her legs trembled, her vision blurred. She couldn't maintain this pace. Not in this heat, not with her injuries. Night fell with shocking speed. The temperature dropped 20 degrees in an hour. Lissa shivered, suddenly cold despite the ambient warmth. She huddled under an overhang, trying to conserve body heat. The scanner glowed softly. The thermal signature had stopped, 800 meters away. Waiting, she didn't sleep. Every sound made her flinch. Earth's nocturnal fauna was active, chittering and howling. Things moved in the darkness. Large things, but none came close to her hiding spot. When dawn broke, she checked the scanner. The thermal signature was moving again. Same pace, same direction, toward her. She ran. Exhaustion made her clumsy. She tripped over roots, stumbled through thorny bushes that tore at her uniform. Her arm blazed with infection. Fever clouded her thoughts. The scanner pinged. 500 meters. She couldn't outrun this. She couldn't hide. The human knew exactly where she was, had known since the crash. Had been following her scent, her heat signature, her disturbed trail for a day and a half. Still walking. Lissa found a defensible position, a small clearing surrounded by dense vegetation. She drew her sidearm and waited. Her hand shook. She'd never killed a sentient being before. Reconnaissance scouts were observers, not soldiers. The undergrowth rustled. She raised her weapon. Her finger tightened on the trigger. He stepped into the clearing and she forgot how to breathe. Male. Obviously male. Tall, easily 2 meters. Bipedal, moving with a grace that belied his size. Mammalian features, forward-facing eyes that locked onto hers with predatory focus. Dark hair, damp with sweat. Skin flushed from exertion, showing blood flow beneath the surface. He wore minimal clothing, fabric covering his torso and legs, nothing more. No armor, no environmental suit, just skin and cloth in this killing heat. He wasn't even breathing hard. The scanner had shown his surface temperature, 37 degrees. He was hotter than the ambient air, producing heat in a furnace. His species didn't just tolerate this environment, they thrived in it. He held up both hands, showing empty palms. He spoke, sounds Lissa's translator tried to parse. "I'm not here to hurt you. You're injured. Let me help." She kept the weapon trained on his chest. "Stay back." His eyes tracked to her arm, assessing the wound with clinical precision. "That's infected. Badly. You've been running for 36 hours with no treatment. You'll be septic within 12 hours. How can you know that? Because I've been tracking you. I saw where you fell. Saw the blood trail." His voice was calm, almost gentle. "You need antibiotics and rest. Come with me. You followed me. For a day and a half, you never stopped." Something flickered in his expression. "Surprise, maybe. I had to pace myself. You were scared, injured. I didn't want to corner you until you were ready to stop running." Lissa's weapon wavered. He'd been controlling the pursuit. Could have caught her hours ago, but chose not to. "Why?" "Because you would have fought. You might have hurt yourself worse." He took a slow step forward. "My name is Lachlan. I live about 8 kilometers from here. Your ship landed in my territory." Territory, of course. Humans were territorial persistence predators. She'd crashed in his hunting grounds, but he wasn't treating her like prey. He took another step. She didn't fire, couldn't fire. The way he moved, predator-smooth but non-threatening, disarmed her more effectively than any aggressive display. "Your crewmate died while I was there." He said it softly. "I'm sorry. I tried to help, but she was already gone." "Maven." Lissa's throat tightened. "You found her. She told me about you before she passed. Said you were the commander. Said you were smart and stubborn and would run yourself to death before asking for help." He paused, his expression shifting. "She also evaluated me, tested me, asked questions about human biology, social structures, threat response patterns. She was dying, but she was still gathering intelligence." That sounded exactly like Maven, always the scout, even at the end. "She told me I had kind eyes, that my body language didn't match predator attack patterns, that I'd tried to move the beam, pinning her even though it wouldn't save her, just to make her more comfortable." He met Lissa's gaze steadily. "She said those behaviors indicated pack-bonding instincts over hunting instincts. Said if I found you, you should trust her judgment, that I was safe." Maven had read him, had used her final minutes to assess whether this human posed a threat to her commander, had made a calculated decision based on behavioral analysis, not desperation or pain-induced confusion. Lissa lowered her weapon slightly. "What do you want? To keep you alive?" He gestured to her arm. "Please, let me treat that before the infection spreads." She should refuse, should maintain distance. But her arm burned and her head swam with fever, and this human had tracked her through impossible terrain without breaking stride, had controlled the pursuit with terrifying precision, had reached Maven in time to speak with her before she died, had chosen not to harm either of them. Lissa holstered her weapon. Her hand trembled. "Fine. But if you try anything, I'll shoot." "Fair." He moved closer, each step measured. Up close, she could see details the scanner hadn't captured. The way his chest rose and fell with breathing, slower than she'd expect after a day of tracking. The scars on his hands and forearms, pale lines against tan skin. The focus in his eyes, that predatory attention now turned to her wound. He pulled supplies from a pack she hadn't noticed. Water first, clean and cool. He poured it over her arm and she hissed. Then something from a small bottle, sharp-smelling and stinging. She jerked, but he held her arm steady. Antiseptic. Going to hurt, but it'll stop the infection. His fingers were warm against her skin. Warmer than the air. Warmer than anything should be. You're hot. He glanced up, one corner of his mouth quirking. Most people think so. No, I mean your temperature, you're burning. Oh. He returned to cleaning her wound. That's normal for us, 37 degrees. We generate a lot of heat, need it for our metabolism. That's lethal to most species, not to us. He wrapped her arm with clean fabric, his movements efficient. We evolved in this. This is comfortable, comfortable. This planet that was slowly cooking her alive, this human called comfortable. She watched him work, cataloging details, the steadiness of his hands, the way he checked her pupils, her pulse points. Medical knowledge, field applied, you're not just a territorial hunter. No. He sat back on his heels. I'm a tracker, guide. I help people navigate this wilderness. Find lost hikers, rescue climbers. He met her eyes, and apparently rescue crashed aliens. You tracked me for 36 hours without rest. I rested. While you did. His expression turned rueful. Persistence hunting isn't about never stopping. It's about outlasting. Knowing when to push and when to pace. You ran, I walked. Eventually, you had to stop. The implications settled over her like cold water. This human hadn't been chasing her. He'd been hurting her. Letting her exhaust herself while he maintained optimal energy expenditure. When she stopped, he stopped. When she ran, he walked. Never hurrying, never slowing, just inevitable. You could have caught me at any time. After the first 12 hours, yes. He stood and offered his hand. Come on, my cabin's not far, you need food and rest. She stared at his hand. Human gesture of assistance, of trust. His skin was darker than hers, scarred from this brutal planet. But he was offering it anyway. She took it. His fingers closed around hers, warm and solid. He pulled her up with effortless strength, and she stumbled. He caught her one arm around her waist, steadying her. Easy, you're running on empty. Let's get you somewhere safe. Safe. The word felt foreign. She was an alien on a death world, injured and stranded, in the hands of an apex predator who'd proven he could outpace her despite every tactical advantage she'd employed. But Maven had spoken to him, had trusted him with information, and he'd treated Lys's wound with careful hands, had chosen patience over violence. She let him guide her through the forest. His pace was slow now, accommodating her exhaustion. He pointed out obstacles, helped her over rough terrain. Every touch was brief, respectful, and impossibly warm. The cabin appeared through the trees, small structure of wood and stone. Primitive by Vesk standards, but solid. He led her inside, and the temperature difference made her gasp. Cooler, shaded, he had some kind of temperature regulation system. Sit. He guided her to a chair. I'll get food. She watched him move around the space. Efficient, organized. He prepared something that smelled strange but not unpleasant, handed her a bowl. The substance was warm, slightly thick. She tasted it cautiously. Vegetable soup, he said. Easy on the stomach. You're probably dehydrated and in shock. It tasted better than it looked. She ate slowly, feeling strength return. He sat across from her, his own bowl untouched, just watching. Why did you help me? His expression shifted, something complicated moving beneath the surface. Because Maven asked me to. She said you were worth saving. Said your people needed you back. She told you that. She was dying. People say honest things when they're dying. He leaned forward. She also said you were scared of Earth, of humans, that you'd never seen a planet like ours. It's a death world. Everything here is designed to kill. Not everything. He smiled slightly. Some things are designed to survive, to adapt. Your species too, I'm guessing. Vesk, right? That's what Maven called you. Yes, we evolved on a low-radiation, low-gravity world. Our empire spans 40 systems. We're explorers, researchers, and you crashed in my backyard, your very territorial backyard. She set the bowl aside. Thank you for not killing me. He laughed, a warm sound that vibrated through the small space. I don't kill every alien that falls from the sky, just the ones who ask nicely. She found herself smiling despite everything. Her mandibles clicked softly, an involuntary expression of amusement. That's a Vesk laugh, by the way. I'll remember that. He stood and moved to a communications unit, older technology but functional. I can contact your people, get you extracted. Reality crashed back. Her mission, her crew, Reth and Maven, dead because of a gravitational miscalculation. The Vesk Empire would want answers, would want to know why their reconnaissance team had failed. She looked at Lachlan, at the human who'd spent a day and a half pacing himself to match her exhaustion, who'd controlled a pursuit with the precision of a trained operative, but the patience of something older, more primal, who'd chosen to help rather than harm. Your species is terrifying, he paused. Yeah, we get that a lot. You don't stop, you just keep coming. No matter how far we run, you'll outlast us. That's the idea behind persistence hunting. He turned back to her. But we also choose what we chase, and when to stop chasing and start helping. Why? Because we're not just predators. He crossed back to her, crouching so they were eye level. We're social. We form bonds. We take care of our pack. Maven became part of my pack when she asked me to find you. So you're part of it now too. Pack bonding. She'd read about it in the mission briefings. Humans formed attachments across species barriers, bonded with anything that showed enough sentience to interact. It was considered a strategic weakness by military analysts. Looking at Lachlan's eyes, at the sincerity there, Lissa thought the analysts were wrong. This wasn't weakness. This was something far more dangerous. A species that could pursue you to exhaustion and then choose to care for you instead. That could be both predator and protector. That could outlast you and then offer you soup and shelter and warmth. She reached out, her fingers brushing his hand. His skin was fever-hot, but she didn't pull back. Thank you for everything. His hand turned, palm up, fingers curling gently around hers. You're welcome. And for what it's worth, your species is pretty impressive too. You made it 36 hours in this heat with a bad injury. Most species would have collapsed in 6. I had motivation. A human chasing me. Fair point. He squeezed her hand gently before releasing it. I'll contact your people, get you home. But until they arrive, you're safe here. Promise. She believed him. Believed it with a certainty that defied tactical analysis, or did it? Maven had read him correctly. His body language throughout the pursuit matched helper patterns, not hunter patterns. He tried verbal communication first, giving her a choice before resorting to tracking. He'd let her exhaust the panic response rather than cornering her while she was still armed and terrified. He treated her wound with practiced hands and medical knowledge. He'd offered shelter without demanding anything in return. Every action had been calculated to minimize threat and maximize her survival. Not the behavior of a predator, the behavior of a rescue specialist. This human had proven himself through action, had demonstrated patience, control, medical skill, and compassion in equal measure. Had become something she hadn't expected on this mission. An ally, maybe more. Days later, when the Vesk extraction team arrived, Lissa stood outside the cabin, watching their shuttle descend. Lachlan stood beside her, close enough that his warmth radiated against her cooler skin. You going to tell them about me? She considered. About the human tracker who saved my life? Yes. About how you did it? Maybe, he smiled. Keep some secrets, I like that. Her mandibles clicked softly. I'll come back, if they'll let me, to study your species further. You mean to visit me? She turned to face him fully. That too. His hand found hers, fingers intertwining. I'll be here, not going anywhere, because you don't have to chase anymore. No. He brought her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles. Sometimes the best things come to you if you just wait. The shuttle landed, kicking up dust and leaves. Her team would ask questions, would want mission reports and tactical assessments, would want to understand why they'd lost 2 crew members and gained an alliance with a species everyone called deadly. Lyssa squeezed his hand once more before releasing it. She'd tell them about the persistence predator who chose compassion over killing, about the human who walked for 36 hours to save an alien life, about the way fear transformed into something else entirely when someone chose to help instead of harm. She walked toward the shuttle, her gait steady despite exhaustion. Behind her, she felt his presence. Not chasing, not pursuing, just there, patient and steady, inevitable as sunrise, warm as the star that burned overhead. Human.